Hey guys, welcome back to another video. For this week, I am going to be ranking Pixar movies as you saw from the title. I am super excited to do this, so let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do that, I just wanted to say thank you real fast for getting me to 1,500 views on my latest short. So thank you for that, and let's get on to this video. Okay, so I just wanted to add like a little disclaimer real fast. Was super hard to grade. This was super hard to list them all. There are 24 Pixar movies, and ranking them is not an easy thing. They are all amazing. Not one of them is like a terrible movie. They're all good. And this is my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's great. Let me know what it is in the comments for your top 3, and yeah. So, starting off at number 24, I put Toy Story 2. And the reason I put this one so low is that it just didn't, it wasn't as good as some of the other Toy Story movies. It was my least favorite one. And I really didn't like the character Sid, and the story wasn't as good as I felt like it was in 3 or 4 or 1. I feel like the friendship connection between the characters was more there in 3 and 4. And you could really feel it more there, so that's why I put it there. So for number 23, I put Luca. And some of you might be surprised to see why I put this one so low. Because it's one of the newest ones, and generally I like the new ones, but this one just didn't get there for me. I mean, it was a good movie. It was a great show, but it just didn't compare to some of the other ones. The story just, like, he was a mermaid for, like, only a tiny bit of the story. I would have liked to see more of that, and seen more of his backstory with his family. And next, for 22, I have Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is a great movie. It's lower than Finding Dory because I find that Finding Dory has a better story. And the characters are, again, have a better connection. And some of the characters in number 2 are just better than 1. And I like the story of they're getting out, they're jumping the highway, they're jumping from the cage to cage in the aquarium. She's trying to find her parents. She's suffering from memory loss. And it helped with some things, too, in number 2 that didn't explain in number 1. And number 1 was okay, and it needed to be there for number 2 to be made, but it just wasn't as amazing as I would have liked. So coming off at number 21 is Toy Story. This is the original Toy Story movie. I don't know why I ranked these other 2 low. Again, the connection for the characters just wasn't there, that I felt like it was. I mean, there was kind of like a rivalry between Buzz and Woody. I mean, not really, but like they didn't like each other because Buzz thought he could fly and Woody was like, "That's ridiculous." And I didn't like that as much, that they didn't connect as well. I liked in 3 and 4 when they were really like, "Oh, we need to be friends. This is amazing." Like, you can feel the love between the characters, and I love that. And the story was just lacking in Toy Story 1. I mean, the ending scene where, like, Buzz and Woody were working together and they're racing on the car, that's, like, my favorite part of that movie. But it just, it beat Toy Story 2, but it didn't make it as high as some of you would have thought on this list. So next up, coming in at number 20, is Bug's Life. Bug's Life is actually a good show, but I didn't like the theme. It had a great story. I just didn't like the bugs as much, but it's still a great movie. Don't get me wrong. All these movies, amazing movies. What Pixar has done with these movies is great. It lacked some of the character development that I would have liked. So next up, I have coming in at 19 is Finding Dory. It's kind of close to Finding Nemo, only 2 away. But again, like I said earlier, the character development was better in this one. And the reason that this one beat Bug's Life was I liked this one more. I thought the ending was better. And so that's why it beat that one. Coming in at number 18 is Brave. So some people may actually be surprised to have this one be so high. But the reason I put this one high is I actually really like the story of the princess. I like the accents. I think it was a funny movie. So it was actually great for me. But I could understand why people have it so low. And actually, I'm not going to get too much in detail, but Brave is actually a Disney princess, and Anna and Elsa aren't a Disney princess because Anna and Elsa didn't go through the Disneyland coronation, whereas Brave did, because Anna and Elsa, they can sell their merchandise on their own. Which, if you guys didn't know, the Disney stores are actually closing, which is disappointing, but they're going online, so guess we'll see how that works. Coming in at number 17 is Cars 2. This one's another one that most people rank pretty low, but I actually enjoyed this one. It wasn't my favorite out of the Cars series, but it's not my least favorite Pixar movie. And I really liked that Mater kind of had his own story, because he's one of the two main characters, and I feel like he kind of lacked that main role as he did in the first two. I mean, he was very important and crucial to the story, but in this one, he kind of had his own time, and you could see the comedy between Mater and the other characters, and it was just like a funny movie. Coming at number 16 is Monsters University. This movie, I really liked it when it came out, and I really, really like some of the characters in this movie. The characters are amazing, but I really did like the story, but it didn't beat the other one. And these movies are so good in front of them, so it's like, I love this movie, but I had to put it so low because the other ones are better. And that's most the case with all of them, so you'll probably hear me saying that a couple times. But, yeah. So, coming in at number 15 is Incredibles 1. I really liked this one. I didn't find it as good as Incredibles 2. But the story in this one was really good. I like how they introduced the next movie at the end, The Underminer. That part was really good, and then they introduced that in the second movie. That was way good. Coming in at number 14 is Up. I was actually debating whether I'd put this thing, or this movie higher or lower. And I was going to put it lower, but I decided that this was a good spot for it. Up has a really, really good story to it, and it is so sad. So coming in at number 13 is The Good Dinosaur. My first experience with this movie, I was eating something that wasn't good, and so I didn't like this movie very much. And then as I went back and rewatched it later on, I decided, wow, this is such a good movie. Why didn't I like this? Because I love the idea of the human with Spot and Arlo. And Arlo gets lost, and Spot gets lost. And they both find their families at the end. But that part where the dad dies, that was so sad, and that's what brought this down. Because that scene was so sad. And I love that, but the sadness was like, it was there, and it was good. It was a good show. But because of that first experience, it dropped it down just a little bit. But, again, the movies ahead are, like, amazing. Next up, it's Toy Story 4. That means Toy Story 3 is going to be one of my favorite Toy Story movie. Toy Story 4 was really good. I liked how it kind of ended the saga, because I'm not sure that there will be another Toy Story 4 movie, but it ended it so well. I'm a little disappointed on how Woody chose to go with Bo Peep instead of split up with his other friends. That scene was, like, heartbreaking. But other than that, the movie was so good, and it was just so good. And Forky, the introduced character, was great. It was just a little disappointing on we've been building up this character love between them, and Woody's just gonna leave and go off with Bo Peep, which I understand it, but I can't wrap my mind around it. I loved the gang and Woody, and it was just so sad. It was sad. Coming up at number 11 is Cars 1, which means Cars 3 is my highest ranking Cars movie. Cars 1 beats Cars 2 because it set up the story, and it was just a great movie. I was actually obsessed with this movie as a kid. I used to say ka-chow. I have a bedspread just made of cars. Like, this was one of my favorite movies growing up, and it still is. Like, I love the story of Mac and the racing. It was just a good movie. Coming in at number 10 is Soul. The reason this movie is so high is not because of the movie itself. or is, I guess I shouldn't say it that way. It's not because of the characters or the storyline. It's the message it gives at the end. I love that. I love that we can find what we want to do with our life, and we have the choice to do that. And I love the learning what it's going to be, and okay, I'm ready to be done. I've fulfilled what I need to do, and I'm ready to leave the earth. And I think that it was a super cool way to show how they like it's like a myth. It's like a way to show how we could have came to Earth. Obviously, it's not, but it was a cool way of like how we could have gotten our personalities, and it was just a cool way to show it, and it was a cool way to give out the message. And it had a little comedy. 22, the voice actor for her is so funny. Her voice is just amazing, in the less weird way possible, but. Yeah. So coming in at number 9 is Cars 3. Again, my highest Cars movie. I put this one so high because I think it had the best story. The only part that I don't like about Cars 3 that I would put Cars 1, say that it beat it for, is because Cars 1 introduces all the cars, and you have all of them in Radiator Springs together. Whereas in Cars 3, they're leaving and he's training to race again. Coming in at number 8 is WALL-E. Some of you may be surprised this one's actually low, but it is in the top 10. WALL-E was really, really good. It's a great movie. The reason that I put it below some of the ones above is it was a cute show, but I just missed that talking between characters. It was like all it is physical body language. It wasn't much of a thing, but even WALL-E were such good characters, and it was a good show. Coming in at number 7 is Onward. Onward is one of the newest ones. We watched this as a family, and connecting to Ian makes this story even better, because it's like, I couldn't imagine what he's gone through, losing his father. That's something that's super hard for me to even understand. And so him getting the chance to have his father back was a creative idea. And then he realizes that his brother was his real father, and he wanted his brother to go have his last chance. It was a cute show, and I really, really liked the spells. I liked the magical side of things. So coming in at number 6 is Incredibles 2. So I rank Incredibles 2 ahead of 1 is because the kids get a little bit more action on screen, and it's more comedy with the Jack and Mrs. Incredible being more in the spotlight until the end. And I'm really like obsessed with all the extra superheroes that get introduced. I think that was super cool. And I think the villain in number 2 may not have been stronger than Syndrome, the screenslaver, but she was definitely better. She had a better character than Syndrome, in my opinion. So moving on to number 5 is Toy Story 3. I love this movie. This movie, like, it was so hard to put this movie where it's at, and I debated switching it up a couple numbers. This movie is such a good movie. This movie could truly go in second, and I would call it a tie between a lot of these movies above. But this movie just, it was such a good movie. The comedy was there. The emotional connection was there. All of it was just, I don't even know how to express it. I'm just moving my hands to try and show how amazing this movie just was. That end scene where they're all getting sucked down into the garbage, and they're all like looking at each other, and the dramatic music is playing in the background, and they're all holding hands. That was an amazing scene, and I think that was a really big reason why it hurt so much to see Woody leave in Toy Story 4. So, yeah, that's that. Coming up at number 4 is Coco. Coco was a super good movie, and the reason this movie gets so high up on the list is it has the best Pixar songs. There isn't one song on this list that's better than a movie or a song in Coco. Coco has the best songs, and the story at the end where it's like family is important. I believe in that, and I think it's true. I think you should spend time with your family, and you should look into what they have to say. And so that's songs where that one gets put up so high. Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. actually beat Monsters University, like I said earlier. The friendship between Mike and Sully is... I'd expect it to be more of a rivalry, but they already have that with Randall. I honestly wish that Monsters University came first and then this was the sequel. I would have preferred that, but this was such a cute movie with Sully and Boo, and it was just great. Coming up at number 2 is Ratatouille. The reason that I think I like this movie so much is that I want to be a chef, and so I think I connect with this story more, and it was just a cool movie to see that. I didn't like the idea of a rat in the kitchen, but I like the idea of that anyone can cook, you just gotta work hard to do it, and he kind of has a little bit of a rebellious side, and that's fine too, so. Coming up at number 1, my all-time favorite movie. You probably already know what this is, because I haven't said it yet, but coming in at number 1 is Inside Out. If you ask me what my favorite movie is, I will always say Inside Out, because it is such a good movie. I love the characters. My favorite is Personally Discussed, but the story's amazing, and I always think about, what's in our brain? Like, this could be true. No one knows. Obviously, we know we have a brain, but it was such a cool and creative idea, and I love the idea of the islands and the special memories, and that you can mix the memories, and we learn what it means to be sad. It was overall just a great movie. So guys, this concludes my Pixar tier list. Remember, this is just my opinion. I'd love to know yours, so please let me know. And I am super excited to go on with this channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.